you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm China Green. Our top story this afternoon. Portland police are searching for the driver who investigators believe ran over a woman in southeast Portland. This happened just after 1:30 this morning at the intersection of Southeast Stark and 99th. Portland police say a woman was clinging to the outside of a moving vehicle, fell off and was run over. The driver left the scene. We don't have a description yet of the car. The woman was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Clark County has agreed to pay $1.5 million to the family of a man shot and killed by Clark County deputies. Kevin Peterson Jr. was shot and killed in 2020 during a failed drug sting. The sheriff's office says Peterson fired at deputies first, though an independent investigation found no evidence of that. A Pierce County prosecutor later determined that the police shooting was justified and deputies were not charged. Then yesterday, Clark County agreed to settle the civil claim. Current Clark County Sheriff John Horch stood by his deputies in a statement saying, quote, "While the loss of a life is always tragic, I fully support the actions of my deputies who acted in accordance with their training and the law to protect themselves and our community." The families of 3 people killed in a Northeast Portland apartment fire back in 2021 have settled a wrongful death lawsuit with the property owners for nearly $13 million. The fire broke out early morning, July 4th of 2021 at the Heidi Manor Apartments. 3 people died, either in the fire or injuries caused by it. Another person was seriously hurt after jumping from a window. Investigators later determined the fire was caused by fireworks in a dumpster. Before we get to Rod, our meteorologist of this afternoon, we're going to look at a goat at our sky cam at the Oregon Zoo. Goat cam, we call it, because there's a goat. Get it, Rod? Does that make sense?
You had to go to goat before you got to me. I feel a little put off, to be honest. Always great fun to see the animals out there at the Oregon Zoo. This morning we made news as the coldest start so far in the Willamette Valley. Portland PDX had been down to 42 the last 2 mornings, but this morning is the first time we cracked the 30s, 39, and some of these numbers might be adjusted even downward a degree when the final climate report comes out today. We had a frost advisory because of spotty freezing spots that we thought could happen in McMinnville, yes. 31, Aurora, yes, at 32 this morning. Scappoose was close at 33. It was 37 degrees out in Kelso. It was freezing in Hood River. We have lost the fog that was very stubborn over downtown Portland, and now all of our cameras show at least some sun. Been a beautiful morning right from the get-go in Cannon Beach. They have the sunshine. Still cool, 48 degrees. Here's the Oregon Veterans Home camera out in the Dalles. Up to 50. Light winds out in the gorge today, and there's downtown Portland. We're just now up to 48. We should have a nice warm up in the coming 2 to 3 hours. I have 55 at 2 o'clock, 60 at 5. Winds will continue to be light. Coming up, my 7-day forecast still shows a very wet weekend. We'll have that for you coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Rod. Boeing machinists have rejected the latest contract offer from Boeing nearly 6 weeks into their strike. The union announced last night that 64% of members who voted rejected this offer. It included a 35% raise over 4 years, the reinstatement of annual bonus program, a $7,000 ratification bonus, and a one-time company contribution to their 401ks. Some machinists wanted more, though, namely their pensions. Here's what the union's president had to say about the offer.
You know, this wasn't enough for our members. There is a big gap that we couldn't reach, especially when it's been 16 years since we've had a chance to bargain every area of our contract. And trying to make all that up in one is very hard to do, but our members deserve more.
Well, I've said there's no silver bullet. This isn't going to be fixed in one fell swoop. We've got a lot of issues here that we're dealing with. The first thing we've got to do is stabilize the business, and obviously getting through the IAM strike is the first big step in doing that.
That was Boeing CEO before the union announced its decision. Boeing had no comment on the vote. And this all comes as Boeing has reported more than $6 billion in loss last quarter. And Boeing says it plans to cut its workforce by about 10%. Healthcare professionals at Providence St. Vincent and the Providence Women's Clinic have authorized a strike if a deal on a contract can't be reached. Doctors and nurse practitioners are demanding better pay and better patient-to-provider ratios. They say contract negotiations have already been going on for around 10 months now. Providence says it isn't uncommon for first contracts like these to take around 18 months to finalize. Providence says that unlike nurses that striked in June, They were replacement workers that were brought in, but there is no way to replace doctors with temporary workers if a strike happens. In the meantime, today, hundreds of teachers across Greater Albany public schools will hold a strike authorization vote for the first time in over 40 years. The union representing Albany teachers have been in negotiations with the district for about 8 months now. They say the district is not agreeing to key student safety protections. In a statement earlier this month, the district says that it was open to communication and bargaining with the union. The vote begins today and runs until next Tuesday, October 29th. Halloween vandals have struck a Clark County neighborhood again. This surveillance video is from Sophie Dudash in the Orchards area, who says her home was hit around 8 last night for the second time. Dudash says that vandals first hit over the weekend. We reported on that. And the suspects, they destroyed her giant skeleton and slashed inflatables. We reached out to Sheriff's Office to see where that investigation stands. No word if any other properties were damaged. A former hotel turned brand new affordable housing complex is now open in downtown Portland. The 75-unit building along Southwest 11th and Harvey Milk is over a century old. And after months of renovations, 10 people have already moved in. The project involved both local and federal dollars.
It took time. And it took working together side by side and sometimes pushing back on each other and outside forces. It took a lot of asks from a lot of organizations. You saw the list of partners we had up there.
So units include both studio apartments and single bedrooms with shared kitchens and dining areas. Rent won't exceed 30% of residents' incomes. A handful of Clackamas County voters have apparently discovered a problem with the envelopes meant for returning their ballots. Daisy Caballero looked into the issue and what you can do to fix it.
Well, we are officially less than 2 weeks away from the general election, which means ballots have been sent out. But what do you do if your ballot return envelope is sealed shut?
That does sometimes happen. The moisture seals the return envelope shut. It's one of our top questions this week from voters.
Catherine McMullen is the county clerk in Clackamas County. She says this does happen, adding that the weather was a bit rainy on the days the ballots were mailed out this time around.
In the May primary, we had a really wet day that all the ballots were delivered, and we actually had a larger incidence of return ballot envelopes being shut.
And if you find yourself in this position, McMullen says you can cut the envelope open yourself, place your completed ballot inside, and seal it shut with tape.
Or you can come into the election office and request a new ballot that will come with a new envelope.
Keep in mind, if you choose to get a replacement ballot in the mail, you can have it mailed to you before October 31st. The recommendation is to mail your ballot back no later than Friday, November 1st, to ensure it arrives on time.
Whenever you do get a replacement ballot, your first ballot is inactivated, and then the second one becomes your active ballot. So there's no way that you can vote twice.
Now you can find all of these details and more at KGW.com. Daisy Caballero, KGW News.
And if you haven't mailed your ballot yet, we got you covered. Just text the word VOTE to 503-226-5088. It's right there on your screen as well. We will text you right back with a link to our voter's guide, including details on the big races and measures you need to know about. Coming up this afternoon, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler will give his State of the City address. He'll reflect on his time in office and share his vision for the city of Portland. It's important to note here that the mayor is not currently running to be Portland's next mayor.